Okay, good evening, everybody. It's the world's first and only dark-skinned activist, Rashida Strober. Testing 1, 2, 3. Let me make sure you guys could hear me before I get into the meat of what I want to say. All right. Here we go. Okay. Good evening, y'all. It is the world's first and only dark-skinned activist, Rashida Strober. I am the creator, the inventor, the designer, the architect of the very first platform in history to advocate against darkism, colorism, and dark skin discrimination. This movement I created is called dark skin activism, and I originated this movement in 1998. It started out as a movement to bring the black man back to the dark skinned black woman, to get the black man to see me as beautiful, to get the black man to love me in all of my dark skin. The movement has since expanded to a general fight for the rights of dark-skinned people. And so it is within this context that I have to ask this question, because there's a lot of contradictions here. There's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of conflicts here. There's a lot of cloudiness here. If you want to find out more information about myself, the dark skin activist, and what I do, go to my website, darkskinactivist.com. Once again, darkskinactivist.com, and you'll find out as much information as you need to. You can contact me as well. All the information is on the website. Also, you can get a free copy of my book, which everybody needs to read. It's called Darkism: 25 Ways Dark-Skinned People Are Discriminated Against. So just putting this into context, putting it into the framework of dark skin activism, and letting people understand that I know that this situation, this murder, is wrong. I'm not on here saying that it's not wrong. So off the top, I want to say rest in peace to George Floyd, and that him being murdered is wrong. And I call it murder. It's a form of darkism. Darkism means discrimination of dark-skinned people. And this is definitely a form of darkism. But we can't ignore the contradictions here. We cannot do that. I will not do that. I will not do that, because y'all got to understand that I've been a dark skin activist, and I've been an activist in my community before there was social media. Okay, all this stuff we seeing playing out on social media, I've been saw all of this. I was a member of the Uhuru movement, and I marched for black men going to prison, black men getting killed by the police, all that. I've been doing that. Y'all new to this. I'm not. Okay, let's get that cleared up real quick. So I've seen a lot. I've seen these types of murders happen again and again, and I've been at the forefront in terms of on the ground at the grassroots level, not just talking on YouTube, and I hate the fact that people, they only come and talk. Yes, social media is great. A lot of these people on social media, they ain't never marched in no movement. They ain't never actually did the work. They get on YouTube and they run their mouth. I can't respect that. And again, I want you to understand that social media is a good thing, because now we can expose a lot of forms of darkism, but at the same time, we got a lot of people that's not sincere. And I am one of the ones that's been an activist before there was social media. So I speak from this from a totally different perspective, not as a person that's just making a video on YouTube because I want some views. That ain't what this is about with me. This speaks to the heart of what I've been doing before social media. In the Uhuru movement, which is one of the oldest movements for Black empowerment in this country. Go look them up. Shout out to the chairman, Omali Ashitella. a real activist, a real leader before social media. That's my distinction. So I'm looking at this totally different. And it's just a conflictual thing for me. I'm a very honest woman. Whether you like me or not, whether you agree with me or not, that's not my point. It's not the point here. The point here is to ask a sincere question that's on my heart, mind, and soul, given the goals and objectives of dark skin activism, which is to bring the black man back to the dark skinned black woman in balanced numbers. Should dark skinned women, in this case, should we be marching for George Floyd? In the context of this man not being engaged to a black woman. Those are the facts. And again, I want to say that it's wrong for this man to be murdered. It's wrong. And in that sense, I could say as a human being, I can say, I want to see justice. I want to see the people that murdered him be held accountable for it. That I do want to see. But at the same time, when I look up and I say, where was George Floyd's black queen? And I don't see his black queen, but I see myself as a black woman still standing up for justice and saying, you know what, this black man was killed. You know, still fighting. It's like it's two sides of me warring here. So this is really about me warring with myself on how far I'm willing to go in terms of my own personal actions. Now, I have done some things already. I signed up, there was a petition going around. Actually, that's how I got to know about this case. On Facebook, there's a petition going around where you sign a petition to seek justice for George Floyd. I've already done that. But I can't sit up here and tell you that I don't feel betrayed and I don't feel slighted by the fact that this man was not with a black woman. Because I do. And I watched an interview of his fiance saying something to the effect, and some of y'all probably seen it, that we should forgive. That was her sentiment. She wasn't angry. I watched the interview. She wasn't upset. She didn't appear to me to be ready to march or any of that. Okay? And my question is, if she's not willing to march, should I be as willing to march as a dark-skinned black woman? Y'all must understand, I watched a video. Go watch. Go type in, if you type in YouTube, George Floyd fiance, this woman is going to come up. Okay. She's going to come up. She's going to pop up. And I saw her. She called herself speaking out. But she's not speaking out. Not to me. And like I said, folks, her sentiments, and you could just tell by watching somebody. You could tell if they're ready to do what needs to be done to seek justice and if they're not. And she wasn't saying, everybody go march in the streets. I didn't hear her say justice for George Floyd. I didn't hear her say that. Go watch the video. Y'all ain't got to take my word for it. Okay? Y'all ain't got to take my word for it. This woman is clearly not ready to march. She's telling people to forgive. This is what she's saying. I didn't hear her say nothing about justice for George Floyd. I didn't hear that come out her mouth. If y'all seen that video, if y'all seen that interview, please put it in the chat. Please email it to me because I didn't see this. If this woman who is his fiance, they're saying this is his fiance, if she's not calling for justice, if she's not willing to march, and this is the woman who he chose to be with, should I, Rashida Strober, as a dark-skinned woman, be also willing to march? Be also willing to call for justice and to seek justice? If this woman is not, this is a problem. Exactly, Chrissy. That's my point that I'm making here. This is a problem. You know, and like I said, y'all got to understand, I got two worlds going on here. I got a war going on inside of myself right now, trying my best to understand what is going on here. And I'm looking through this through the eyes of the dark-skinned activists, through the eyes of a black dark-skinned woman that wants the black man to come back to the dark-skinned black woman. And I am just very conflicted about this. And of course, I asked the question, should dark-skinned women march? But of course I want justice for this human being. Of course I do. But we cannot ignore betrayal. We cannot ignore betrayal. And at this point, I'm at a loss for words of what to do about the betrayal. Because I am disappointed. I am saddened that this man did not have a black queen by his side. That's how I feel. I got a right to feel how I feel. Anybody upset with that, that's your problem. This is how I feel about the situation. And I just don't understand. Because if that was my fiance, I'd be out here calling for justice. That's what I would be doing. I would be seeking justice. I would be marching. I would be fighting for the people that murdered my fiance to be held to justice and to be held accountable for what they did. That's what I would be doing. That seems to me to be the right thing to do, the moral thing to do, the just thing to do. I don't know, y'all. It's just, you know, I told y'all I was a member of the Uhuru movement for a long time. And the Uhuru movement is an organization that fights for the political rights of black people and for social justice of black people all around the world. And I remember that there was a time when there was a black man who ended up in trouble with the law, and he was wrongfully accused, and he was dating a non-black woman. And I remember the Uhuru movement organizing to fight for justice for this particular individual. And because I was a member of the Uhuru movement, I was in solidarity with it. And so I, along with the other members of the movement, fought for justice for this individual. But I remember thinking, why should I be out here fighting for this person? And he wasn't even with no black woman. But y'all want me to galvanize my energy, my mind, my mental capacities, you know, my money, my time. And you want me to be out here march. And I did. But even at that time, this was a long time ago. Even at that time, I felt some type of way. I felt like something isn't altogether right about this. Why should I, as a black woman, a black dark-skinned woman, be expected to always be at the front lines? taking the hits when you don't even want to be with me, marry me, build a family with me, build a life with me. It's a contradiction. And so even though I call for justice, I'm calling for justice just like I did years ago with this black man that was wrongfully accused, but who was with a non-black woman. I still call for justice. The questions are still in my mind. I'm still calling for justice for George Floyd because, again, this is a human rights issue. But we cannot ignore the betrayal, the contradictions. We can't. Anthony Taylor said, once again, his mother is calling for justice. Does what the so-called fiance have to say mean more than what his mother is saying? It's a contradiction. She as a black woman, Anthony, that's my point. We're expected to say, to fight for justice. These are our sons. These are our cousins. These are our brothers. But you have to also question where loyalties lie. Because again, I did not hear this lady call for no justice against the people who murdered George Floyd. I did not hear it. And I didn't even sense a real sense of sadness. This woman can never understand. That's another thing too. This woman can never understand what it feels like for a black person to have one of their brothers or one of their cousins or their sons murdered because of their skin tone. She don't understand what that means. She doesn't get that. She can't feel that type of empathy. And that's wrapped up in darkism, because this is discrimination against a person for being dark skinned. This is an example of darkism. This woman cannot understand that. So that's why you don't hear her out there making passionate pleas for justice. She's looking at this through a different set of lenses. And I just don't understand some of y'all black men who just decide y'all want to leave. I don't get y'all. I don't understand what y'all be thinking. Y'all just don't make sense to me. Yeah, nurse student possibilities. You said, well, of course, his mother loves him and wants justice. But, well, here's the thing. It's black women whose sons, whose brown skin, dark skin, light skin, darker skinned, majority of my scene, that's being murdered here. That's the group that it's happening to the most. It's not happening to non-black women. So it's a different set of circumstances. It's a totally different set of circumstances with a totally different meaning and a totally different feeling behind it. It's not the same. And I just do not see the same level of empathy. That's a good point, Deej Talbert. You're right. You said, is his mother alive? I read that she is deceased. Thank you. I'm glad you said that. And I think that some of the people might be referring to an older woman that was on. I saw some of his family members on CNN, and there was a woman on there that appeared that she could have been like his mother's age. That's how it appeared to me. I think that the people are referring to maybe her, or maybe some people don't realize that his mom is deceased. But Deej Talbert, you are absolutely right. She is deceased. I just don't understand some of our black men. I just don't understand it. I've been fighting with this question ever since I've been in the Uhuru movement. I've always been fighting with this. Like, should I be marching for men who don't want to be with me? I've been grappling with this question. And again, sometimes I just don't know. I don't know. It's like, okay, there's certain things that I could do that's the right thing to do to call for justice. I signed a petition, like I said, that was going around. I signed that petition today for George Floyd. And obviously you feel sad for anybody that is murdered. Anybody with a consciousness, with feeling, you gonna feel sad. I feel that. But when these types of things happen and you see that the black man is not with a black woman, I think all black women, whether they want to admit it or not, I think you're questioning. You have questions of loyalty. You have questions of what is going on here. Yeah, that's what she said, something talking about grace. She said grace. So you mean to tell me you want to have grace towards people who viciously and brutally murdered you? I'm not so sure. Tonight said Rashida, black men are pro-self, pro-black men only. Thank you, NN. You said his mother died 18 months ago. May she rest in peace. And that's the thing. It's a sad situation. He lost his mother. Now he lost his life. It's a sad situation when you just look at it purely from a humanistic standpoint, which is the first way I look at this from. A person, a human being murdered. But we cannot ignore the fact that black men and black people are murdered more by the police in these types of situations. That's darkism. But then you add on the other layer, because it's layers to this. That this man was not with a black woman, and you question it as a black woman. You question it and you sit back and you just start thinking about this. You sit back and you start taking it all in. And yes, you can have these feelings. You can have multiple feelings, layered feelings of compassion, feelings of betrayal, all in one. And so I am conflicted. And that's how I feel. I'm on here to share how I feel with y'all. I've always been an honest person. I tell you straight up, this is what I'm feeling. Whether you agree with me or not, it's how I feel. And we're not going to all feel the same. So, I'm not going to be on here long. I just want to come on here and, say what I needed to say about this and say what was on my heart to say. I hope that George Floyd gets justice. But what I definitely will say, that his fiance is clueless. This woman does not get it. She is, and it's just so frustrating to hear someone come and speak and talk about grace. What about the grace for George Floyd? What was the grace for George Floyd? This lady is not even making any sense. In fact, she shouldn't even be speaking out. What needs to happen is she just needs to just stay out the media, because all she's going to do is upset people. Because when I seen the interview with her talking, that was upsetting to me. Don't nobody want to hear all of that. Don't nobody want to hear all of that, because this lady ain't making no damn sense. She's not making any sense at all. Just stay off the media. Let this man family members speak out. The family. That's how I feel about this. Let them talk. I watched his family members. Let me scroll down right here. These are the people that I watched on CNN. His family members right here. Okay. We don't want to hear from her because what she's talking is a bunch of foolishness. She's living in her own privilege. Okay. I understand what you're saying, nurse student possibilities, but in this context, and this is the contradiction. See, this is it. This is why people are going to differ of opinions. You got this woman, you saying nurse possibilities, you saying, but she is the closest to him. She knows him. She's not the closest to him. I disagree with that. I don't know how long that this lady have been his fiance, but I think his family members probably would know him the best. And why is it that his family member, go watch the CNN interview. If you watch that CNN interview, this is why I was able to pull up the picture, because I watched the CNN interview with his family members. That his family members are calling for justice. His family members are calling for justice. They doing the right thing. This fiance lady is hollering by grace. Go sit down. She just does not need to be doing the media circuit. Don't nobody want to hear it. I don't want to hear all of that. I'm just going to tell you the straight up truth. I don't want to hear what she got to say, because it is very clear that this woman is not going to admit that this is as a result of darkism and racism. And we know that that's what it is. But the irony is, again, he wasn't with a black woman. He wasn't with a black woman. If this was a black woman, it would be a whole different ball game. It would be a whole different interview. It wouldn't be nobody talking about some grace. She isn't making any sense. I don't want to see no more of her interviews. I will not be watching any more of this lady's interviews, because to me, she is putting a hamper on this on George Floyd getting justice. That's what the conversation should be focused on. Getting justice for George Floyd, not talking about no damn grace. We've seen the video with what happened with him. This man was begging for his life, calling for his mom, and she's sitting up here hollering about some grace. Go sit down. Go sit down. I don't want to hear nothing that this lady got to say no more. I only want to hear from his family members. Fiance, they was not married. Fiance, my ass. Guess what? That ain't your wife. They weren't married. Okay, they weren't married. That's a fact. And I would probably be willing to put marriage above, give that greater weight. But in this case, there was no marriage. So for me, his family members are the people that are most important in terms of what they have to say. And his family members are on the right track because they want justice. And that's where we should be focused at. So anyway, I hope that George Floyd rest in peace. His mom rest in peace. And I do hope that justice is won for George Floyd. It is the world's first and only dark-skinned activist asking the hard-hitting questions, asking the relevant questions. I hope you guys have a good evening. And thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for joining in. The world's first and only dark-skinned activist, darkskinnedactivist.com.